Talk episode 4. Today we're going to get into some amazing topics, and I have my amazing guests with me, so let's get started. So welcome back, everyone, to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. And today's show, we're going to be talking about, to start off with, episode 4. And we're going to start with the strongest teams in the NBA. And so far, we've seen the Milwaukee Bucks. They're up 2-1. We've seen the Suns right now. They're up 3-1 on the Clippers right now. So to start with, Jared, I want to start with you. Who is the strongest team right now in the NBA Finals to you?
For me, I think it's still between Phoenix and Milwaukee. I mean, I want to say Phoenix because I want them to win, but Milwaukee, they're looking tough, man. I mean, I didn't have them getting past Brooklyn, and they did that. So I don't know. Right now, they're looking like they might be the favorites.
Jeremiah, do you think they're the favorites right now, Milwaukee or the Suns? Milwaukee. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I do think that they're the favorites because, to be honest, you have a Phoenix of a powerhouse between Devin Booker and Chris Paul. And the most of I would say, the dark horse in this whole series that's with them versus the Clippers is mostly DeAndre Ayton. This guy has been doing incredible, especially just making a name for himself and being a superstar, showing why he was the number 1 pick that came out and everything else like that. And for Milwaukee, I think that they can be a championship team too. The only I say block road I would say for them is sometimes they can get inconsistent at times, and their coach he never makes adjustments so it can go either way. But to me, I put Phoenix first and then Milwaukee.
Okay, I think I'll start with Milwaukee as the strongest team out of the 4, because right now I'm seeing a little dip within the Suns, even though I'm rooting for them to beat the Clippers. But when you see Milwaukee, you just buckle down on Atlanta the way they did and just, settle down and just play our game of basketball. I think if Milwaukee does that, Chris Middleton plays consistently like how he's been playing even in the last series against Brooklyn and into this series. If he continues to play like that, I think Milwaukee is a very tough team because they're the best team in the paint right now, I think. And I feel that if Giannis and those guys can just continue to do that and continue to play hard and aggressive, I think that they are the front runners to win the championship. So, Edward, what do you think about that? Do you think that Milwaukee is the best team?
I think, yeah. Out of the 4 that are left, I don't have a dog in this fight at all. I wouldn't have picked these 4 to be the last 4 teams. But I look at Milwaukee, and they have 2 first-team all-defensive players in Antetokounmpo and Drew Holiday. That's 40% of your. I mean, that's lockdown defense. Defense wins championships. And I think Giannis has been that guy who's been right at the precipice, waiting to become great. And I think this is his moment. He's been a multiple-time league MVP. He should be taking that next step. I think this is his next step. And I think the confidence that they got in beating Brooklyn and beating Kevin Durant, that's got to put. I think that was probably going to be their toughest test in this playoffs, and I think they thought that too. So I think they can run with it. And you got 40% of your starting 5 are the best defenders in the league this year. You should be able to shut all these teams down. And I love seeing Ayton getting his right now. He looks like he's slimmed down a little bit. So I'd love to see Milwaukee and Phoenix in the finals. I think that's probably what it's going to be. But I'm excited that it's not Golden State or Los Angeles or somebody that's been constantly in the finals over the past few years. I'm glad it's something different, and it's I think it's exciting basketball right now.
I agree. I think that it's very exciting basketball. And I think right now that we could say the Suns and Milwaukee could, because I think Trae Young's ankle, he injured his ankle last night. So it's really sketchy. about him, and I think that team goes as far as he goes. So I think that Milwaukee does have this series, and I do think the Suns will get this series. I do think the Suns need to play better, though. When playing Milwaukee, they can't. Chris Paul and Booker cannot continue to play or shoot the way they're shooting against a Milwaukee team that can one night score a lot of points. So I think the Suns should play a lot better than what they're playing. But that is to wrap up this first segment, you guys. If you want to follow me on any social media, you can follow me on Instagram at sports GameSpace Sports. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, Jasmine Pollock. And then if you want to follow my YouTube channel, please subscribe at GameSpace Sports Content. The next topic, I think is a very important topic, is Doc Rivers. When we look at Doc Rivers is arguably one of the best coaches that we've seen in this past decade. And he did win a championship with the Boston Celtics. But since then, he has not lived up to expectation ever since, he was bent with the Clippers, and now the 76ers were booted out against the Atlanta Hawks. So, Jeremiah, what do you think Doc Rivers' legacy is right now? Where do you see Doc Rivers right now as a head coach?
When it comes to Doc Rivers, is he a good guy? Yes. Does he make some players better around him? Kind of have that good, I would say, that presence that he brings. I would say yes. But when it comes to his coaching, to me, I think at some parts that he is overrated when it comes to his coaching. Because to me, when it comes to Doc Rivers, this man has been having really successful teams come his way, but a lot of things he has never executed. This man, Doc Rivers, he only has one championship under his belt, and that came from all the way in Boston in 2008. And of course, that was when it was Kevin Garnett, Pierce, and of course, Ray Allen. And you had that big three that was over there. But then afterwards, when he went and those down years at the Celtics, you would think that he was going to make a new name for himself over at the Clippers. When he came to Clippers, he had the players that was Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, all of the players that were, of course, when it came to Blake Griffin in his prime, and also DeAndre Jordan, new starting guys. So they never mounted up to where regular season thing was. They would have the top records. They'll get all the way up there. It was called Lob City. But every single time when it comes to Doc and his teams, they always choke. And that was from the start of the Clippers all the way till he got fired from the Clippers. And when it came to the 76ers, he did the exact same thing. When it comes to Doc Rivers, he folds his hands a lot of times to just let them play just to play. He doesn't make any adjustments when it comes to that. He said they got them into this hole, they can get themselves out. But sometimes it takes a coach to do more when it comes to those type of positions.
I agree. Edward, do you think Doc Rivers, do you think he's the sole reason why the 76ers lost? Because we saw the 76ers were the number one seed. So what do you think about that?
I don't think I don't follow look at coaches like that hard, but I think Doc Rivers is more of a motivational coach than he is a X's and O's guys, and I think that's where he gets beat most times. He's not he doesn't strike me as a brilliant tactician. And anytime you hear games being called, they don't talk about him like that. He's probably a guy who, if he's got 3 or 4 studs and a good bench, he could probably get them to motivated well enough to to get you into the playoffs, but obviously not past the Western Conference Finals. At least he could never do that with LA. I mean, how Garnett, Pierce, and Allen didn't win more championships is kind of stunning, because I thought that was a really solid team. So I don't think he's an X's and O's guy, and I think that shows in the playoffs. And he can motivate 12, 15 guys to the playoffs every year, but he can't coach his way into a championship. I think he lucked into one in Boston, and that's not to say he's not a good coach, but he's not a great. I would never put him up there. But so I think his legacy is what it is. He's a playoff coach. He's not a championship coach.
Do you agree, Jared, that he is not a championship coach?
No, because I think Doc Rivers is a great coach. I'm a fan of Doc Rivers, but I just think the situations he's always been left with in the conference finals, I feel like he just tried to let the players figure it out, like, which some can debate. He should have made adjustments, or, he should have done this. But I remember all the times he was up, they should have won. They had the games in the bag. They blew leads. They did this. They did that. And I mean, there's only so much the coach can do because the players have to go out there and execute. And I just feel like, and especially in this particular year with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, I mean, Ben Simmons wasn't going to take them to the finals.
Right.
And I mean, I think we all see that now. They need something different. But I don't know if Doc Rivers is an X's and O's guy, but I do know that he can get you right to the point, and you just have to step over and go the rest of the way. So I'm a Doc Rivers fan, and I just feel like he's had some bad luck when it counts the most.
Yeah, I agree. Even when I agree with what Edward was saying, that he's not a good X's and O's guy. And I also think he is not good, like you were saying, he blew leads. And I think he's not a good in-game adjustments coach. You have a lot of coaches who, okay, this team's starting to creep back, let's make adjustments right now. Just like what Ty Lue did this playoffs. Currently, he made adjustments. He made, okay, we're going to do this with, they got past the last series against who did they play the last series? Was it Dallas? I think it was Dallas. I think when they got past him, that team without Kawhi, I think that really showed why I think Ty Lue is also a better coach than Doc Rivers right now, currently, because of how he made in-game adjustments. Jeremiah, do you think that Doc Rivers, where do you think his ceiling is after the 76ers? Do you think he's going to stay with the 76ers? Do you think that this is it for him?
To be honest with you, I have the 76ers giving him another year. Look, when it came to this this last series that they had against the Atlanta Hawks and everything, to me, I told you before, I only gave him 25% of the blame when it came to that. Of course, he didn't do the greatest coaching and everything else, but there's other factors that's been going on in the 76ers that they have been struggling with, not even just this series, but over the years. And that's been Simmons' jump shot and else. And it's also the different things when it comes to their bench not being all the ways consistent and everything else like that. But of course, I would give some of the blame when it comes to Doc because, he saw a lot of these things happening, especially when leaving Ben Simmons inside the game at those late times and they would keep fouling him to shoot at the jump shot. He'll say, he would get better. We're not going to change from it. But then the last game, you changed from it. And, it's just all about adjusting to it. I hope that, this next year that he has right here, that he can, make up for his reputation, because to be honest with you, his reputation is just, going to steady, downward spiral right now, because I do like Doc Rivers. I always see him like he's a great man, and, players always speak highly. But I think at the same time, when it comes to this next season, it's going to be a lot of pressure on him and for the 76ers.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good take on that. I agree with that. That wraps up this segment, you guys. I enjoyed that conversation. If you guys want to follow me here on Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk, please follow me on Instagram at GameSpace_sports. Also, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to GameSpace Sports Content. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn and get connected with me, it's Jasmine Pollock. On to the next subject, Bill Belichick. I think this is one of the hottest topics that's been the past year. We've seen him and Brady dominate for the past 20 years. We've seen this guy win numerous championships and arguably one of, or if not the greatest NFL coach of all time. We've seen last year Tom Brady leave and go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he wins a championship the first year he gets there. So, Jared, do you think that Bill Belichick could ever get back to the Super Bowl and win?
I think it's kind of a tricky question because, Brady and Belichick have been together for so long and they've been successful so long together. It's kind of tricky because we haven't seen him by himself without. I mean, we kind of saw a little bit with Cam Newton, but, that season you can argue this and that happened, and a lot of stuff going on. But haven't really seen Belichick do much by himself, so I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see this season what happens. He spent a lot of money. Cam Newton should be good and healthy to go. So I think he could maybe get there again, but I can't say for sure.
Edward, what do you think? Do you think that Belichick will ever get back to that winning status?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that a guy with 6 Super Bowls it feels like he has to prove himself.
Right.
I think he, regardless of if he ever gets back again or not, I think he's done enough. But yeah, I mean, they're well on their way with Drew Bledsoe before he got injured.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady hopped right in, and God love him. Tom Brady, I think, is he's just a different person. Because to be a 6th round pick and probably not going to smell the field, and to never relinquish that spot again, other than for a blown out knee that cost me a fantasy football title. I'll never forget that. But I don't think if Belichick never gets back there, I don't think he has anything to worry about. But I think he can get there again. I mean, he makes magic happen. That dude,
right.
The teams that he would put together with with Brady, and then 5 receivers you've never heard of, and a running back you didn't even think was still in the league, and they're going. I mean, he can do it again. I think he probably wants to put together one more year, one more run, and whether it's a win or a loss in the Super Bowl, as long as his last game was a Super Bowl game, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I actually did like when they picked up Mac Jones from Alabama. Now, I'm a Gators fan, and I was kind of salty they didn't get Trask, but Trask is with Tampa Bay. He's behind Tom Brady now, so that's going to be good for him. But I do like Mac Jones in that arena. I like Mac Jones with him, because I think, even though I don't think Mac Jones, from what I've been heard, is that they're going with Cam. I think it will be good that Mac Jones, gets those reps and kind of learns his first or second year maybe. But I think he's a very good pickup that they got, and I think that you can never question Bill Belichick, because I've seen this man game plan against some of the most explosive offenses. This man knows how to make in-game adjustments. He even, like, the respect that I gained for him is when they played Atlanta. Atlanta's up 28-3. And he literally said, you know what, we're going to play our game. We're going to force them to play our game of football. And literally they came back in great fashion, even against the Rams, even though Brady and the offense didn't play well at all. Neither offense has played well, but the defense terrorized Jared Goff. And it took that one throw to Gronkowski to open that game up and give Brady his 6th. So I think you could never question Bill Belichick's greatness. But Jeremiah, do you think that he could win with Cam Newton is the question.
With Cam Newton, I would say yes. I would say they will make the playoffs. But it's up to Cam though, because when it comes to, I need him to stay healthy when it comes to him, and during the season and everything else. When it came to Cam Newton this last season, when it was with the Patriots and everything else, he did well to start off the season. He was doing good, and then he caught the COVID, and he did not look the same right afterwards. This dude was throwing interception after interception at the end of the day. But it's just all about getting on the same mindset when you're going there on that field right there. And knowing Belichick, I know that he will get that thing like straight, because when it comes to Belichick's mind, it's just on a different type of level. I've seen like the things that he's done, and just to bring it back, what you said, Jasmine, when it came to Atlanta, how they left them scoreless at a certain point, that they just went on a certain run. That was because of this. When it came to the Rams versus the Patriots, it was the defense through that whole game. Even when it came to Seattle, his blueprint, even when he had to get that interception, what his game plan of Belichick is you're not going to outrun Seattle because we don't have that speed, but we're going to use our mind when it comes to this. He tells the players always to run outside and then get straight down. That was his own thing, to have no fumbles or no certain things. So it's all about, playing it safe. And with Belichick, his DNA is all over the NFL to me when it comes to the different coaches he has influenced that came from behind him and everything else. And knowing with him and Cam, and also having Mac Jones come from behind him, I think they can do some dangerous work, to be honest with you. And plus having a great free agency.
I agree. Jared, do you think that, being that even though the Bills are a legit team, do you think the Patriots could win the division and take back the division as they have for the past 20 years?
Yeah, it just depends which Cam Newton we're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, we've all watched Cam Newton play great, play at an MVP level, and I don't know. I don't know which Cam you're gonna get from which week, from one week to the next. And like I said, I think Bill Belichick can coach up whatever he wants, but when he had Tom Brady, he got consistent. And if Brady tapered off, it wasn't far, and that was enough to always keep him in the game, put him in position to win. And I don't know if you're gonna get that from Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when he goes far, he's real inconsistent. 4 interceptions, 5 interceptions, fumble, this, that, bad read. It's not just 1 interception, 2 interceptions, and you get it back going. So I don't know. It just depends which Cam we're going to see. He's been inconsistent the past couple of years. And I don't know. I think Belichick's going to have some work to do to make sure he keeps his head on straight.
I agree. Edward, do you think Mac Jones could be the face soon of that team? You think we'll see him earlier than what people are expecting?
I think we would. I think with the Patriots, they are and they're an execution kind of team. You've got to execute this play this way. Timing is everything. In multiple interviews, that's all you would hear. Brady and Belichick say, you got to execute. And I think that's where it's going to determine where Jones comes in. If Cam Newton is Cam Newton, I don't think he's that guy. I don't think his play mentality is be perfect on every play. I think he's just I'm going to go out there and be Superman, and whatever happens, and that's great. But for the Patriots, I don't think that's the mindset that they need. If they can get Mac Jones to be what they need and be accurate and be on time and execute properly, they'll put. I think Belichick has had a history of putting the right player in at the right time, regardless of who it is. So he wants to win. He believes in championships, and I think that if he has to make a change, he'll make a change when he feels it's necessary.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what helps Mac Jones, too, is that he was under probably the greatest college coach, Nick Saban, and with that Alabama team and how they prep those guys for the NFL. I think that's very helpful that he has that. And then you go right to Bill Belichick. It's really good. So the kid already has this winning mentality. He already has the work ethic to prove that, okay, I can carry this Patriots team, and I can be – I don't think – anyone's expecting, because there's a lot of shoes to fill, like you're playing in Brady's old position. You're playing where Brady used to play. That was Brady's home. That was Brady's everything. That was his area. So when you see Mac Jones come in, I saw a lot of people on Twitter coming at him, oh, you're not going to be able to do this, you're not going to be able to do that. And I think we shouldn't hold him to that, because he is young. He may not ever be Tom Brady. He may be somebody totally different. He may have his own legacy in New England. So I think Belichick could definitely work with him, and it does help that he has that experience with Nick Saban and winning championships and putting up high numbers and being accurate. So I'm really excited to see what New England's going to do. I do want to see, even though I did not like the Patriots, I don't think anyone really liked them, but I do want to see Belichick kind of say, you know what, Brady, I can get mine also without you, because I think that's kind of the battle that's what's going on right now. But that wraps up tonight's show, you guys. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today. I want to thank Jay for the production. I want to thank the audience specifically for tuning in and just supporting. So hopefully to see you guys next week on episode 5 of Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. See you next week.